Hi, this is Rory, and how does a man fall in love? And why does he fall in love? And what makes him do that? And what is his sequence? So in one of the videos a little bit farther back, I talked about pheromones and your natural smell and how that is such an animal instinct and not to cover that up. And then I talked about how the things that we feel we don't have control over, that we theoretically shouldn't have control over, like those instincts and smell and all that, you do have some influence over. And what that is building the relationship and the connection so that the pheromone whole thing just sort of dies out for him, where his emotions take over. So once his emotions start to take over of feeling safe, which is what one of the other videos is about. Go ahead and find that one too. That would be like step number 2. So we're like in step number 3 here, but it encompasses everything. Let's say that he is now connected to you in enough of a way that you can keep talking. He calls you. He makes a date. You see each other. It's happened a couple of times, right? So he's not ghosting you yet. Nothing terrible is happening. There's no strong chemistry for you, which is great. But you do enjoy his company. He's interesting. He's not financially in an impossible situation, which is very disconcerting for most of us. He's intelligent, at least is in the ballpark with you, although nowhere near close, right? And his looks are decent for you. You don't feel grossed out, and you're willing to kiss him. You maybe have already kissed him, which is always my vote. Kiss the man right off. Let him know this is a romance thing. This is not a friend thing. Or if you'd rather not wait, that's totally fine. But the connection as a romantic connection, that's something you can influence. You can see if you literally can't kiss him continually for the rest of your life, or it could get better, whatever. So now let's move to this place where he feels safe enough to talk with you, and he has demonstrated that he's interested in you. He can hear himself. He can listen to you. He can say, hey, how do you feel today? What happened to you today? What went on at work? What do you like about your life? Tell me about something. And you speak. And you are now working on opening yourself up and letting the feelings out and being vulnerable and sharing what you actually care about with this man. And he's listening to you. He doesn't jump in right away and say, oh, I did that too. But he's actually listening to you. Yeah, there'll be some jumping in with his own story. But hey, you can feel that he's there and he's taking you in, and he is not judging you or looking down his nose at you, or in any way making you feel uncomfortable. And you're starting to build that bond of trust where he feels safe and you feel safe. Ha! Now that's an atmosphere for love, but it might seem like an atmosphere for friendship. So now what? So now his urge to communicate with you on a deeper level through sex keeps showing up. So what are you going to do with that? Are you a person who needs a strong commitment before you have sex? Or are you somebody who can also build the connection with how much you're able to open up for sex? So that's a whole nother topic, but you're going to have to kind of get past that or through it. So whatever you choose, know this: you are your own self. You are having sex and connecting sexually with somebody for your own self, your own enjoyment, your own pleasure, and to see if this man has an ability to satisfy you, to learn with you, to make you feel safe and comfortable. If that is valuable to you, you make those decisions, and my vote is to experiment and explore rather than peg yourself as some way with sex or another. And please, this is such a serious thing to most women. See if you can find a playful aspect to sex where it's part of your life, it's part of the discovery process of a relationship. It has no meaning past that. Because the moment you put meaning to a sexual relationship or a sexual connection, that's where we women get in trouble. Putting meaning to anything actually gets us into trouble, but sex is such an emotional thing for us. So approach it the way you feel best. You know, I don't feel ready for that. But try the high school stuff. Do the kissing. Do the touching. Do the bare from the waist up. Do whatever you feel comfortable with, and stop him when you're not comfortable. That is how you open up and show your vulnerability. So I put the whole sex thing right in here because it's so important. What we tend to do, and I've seen this in some of the shows on TV where, you know, people barely know each other, but they're married. And what happens is some people just really lose sexually and some people aren't. And some of the couples that have made it to a long marriage never had a sexual connection because the women didn't want to do it then. And it still worked for the men. They were happy to just have the emotional connection build and the trust build. So there is no right or wrong here. There's only what do you want to do? How much in connection with yourself are you that you can make choices that feel right to you? And sometimes it takes practice and not feeling good some of the time to discover who you are rather than guessing from your head or what somebody else has told you. So this video is basically about sex. Let's explore how the connection works for you before you start thinking about what it's going to do for him. And are you shutting down on kissing? Are you shutting down on making out? Are you shutting down on touching because you are afraid that you're going to upset him by stopping just before the part where you're uncomfortable? This is the place I would really like you to explore and practice. How am I with this particular man sexually where I need to stop, or where I feel that I should go forward, but I'm worried about what's going to happen? Or I am kind of worried about what's going to happen, but I'm ignoring myself. This is really important for you to discover so that you start to know how you are and how much connection sexually makes you feel emotionally connected and how that all works for you. To get more relationship advice, check out this video next.